South Main Auto Channel. So we've got this 07 Chevrolet 1500 here. It's got the 5.3 liter in it. The dash looks like a Christmas tree. Every single light is on that could possibly be on. I guess we are told by the customer to look at the engine light only. So we're gonna check that out, see if we can't figure out what's going on with that for him. I assume he wants to get it through inspection, and that's all that's required in New York State is that the engine light is to be out, you know, plus all the other, you know, mechanical stuff. But we're just here to look at the engine light for this fella. So that's what we'll do, and we'll bring you guys along. Got our vehicle information entered here. We'll go into the engine. We're not gonna do a full scan because we're not interested in fixing everything. So we'll just grab our codes here out of the engine. And it looks like we have several of them. Let's see, do you need me here?
Just check this.
Oh, okay, give me 1 second. So we've got a, what do we have? Bank 1 and Bank 2, fuel trim system rich. That's unusual. Misfire, theft of steering key incorrect. Brake switch high and fuel pump control module requested mil. So this one here, so we have two rich codes for both banks, a P0300. This theft deterrent key, security light wasn't on, truck starts and runs, so maybe that's a, you know, a history code. Brake switch, not super concerned with it right now, but this fuel pump control module requested mil, that means that we're gonna have a code in the FPCM, so we'll go look at that too. Let me see what, all right, let's see, my pointer back here. Let's go pop into the fuel pump control. See what this has in it for a code. So we've got two codes here. Fuel rail pressure sensor performance and a fuel pump flow performance. I'm not 100% positive. It would be my assumption that these two are related simply because I doubt it can detect any type of flow performance if it's having a problem with the fuel rail pressure sensor, simply because that's probably what it uses as a check and balance type system. And I guess while we're right here, we can go in and look at data, see what this fuel pressure sensor is saying. All right, fuel rail pressure, it says 13 PSI. Can you hop around the other side of that car here? Just shut the key off for us and then turn it right back on, just off and on. That could be just residual pressure in the rail. I didn't hear the pump run. Just shut the key off. Okay, turn it back on. Is it on? Yep. Just for the heck of it, just start it up. So our desired fuel pressure is 57 pounds, which we would kind of expect, you know, 55 to 60 pounds on this, I would think. Or 43, rather. And we can see our fuel rail pressure sensor is only showing 23. So that's, you know, obviously is going to be fuel pump's commanded 100%. So we need to look into that. That's probably why we have this this code, fuel rail pressure sensor. So we'll look into that. That gives us a little bit of direction there. I guess while we got it running, let's pop back into our engine. See, we had rich codes and misfire codes. I did take us for a little shot around the block, just a real short drive. I didn't feel any misfires when I drove it. Did a couple full throttle checks with it just to see. Oh yeah, so our fuel trim here is minus 30 on both banks. That's a huge correction, but it still is in control, it looks like. Let's see. So it's still within fuel control because our short term is still making small corrections. Is that on both banks? Yep, so there's bank 2, sensor 1. So we still got good fuel control. So where could the excess fuel? So rich conditions are a little trickier than lean conditions because we have to have a excess of fuel or lack of oxygen. Let's kind of look at some data here. We could always have an over-reporting mass airflow sensor. That would probably be the most common, I would think. But if we look here at 6 grams a second on a 5.3 liter, that is not too far out of line, if at all. I would expect that to be about 5 3/4 to 6 grams per second on an idle. Our barrel's right on the money. Fuel alcohol content, 0. Fuel volatility, low. Yeah, manifold pressure is about right. Well, that's interesting. So what else can cause that is too much fuel pressure or excessive purge, but we didn't have any, our purge is only at 12% unless it's stuck wide open. Why don't we just check that real quick? Oh man, it's like got a lift kit in it. This is our purge solenoid right here, so we can just we use a scooter around in here. Grab a polar scan tool right out of the holster there. So I got the purge unhooked. Got my finger over the vacuum hole, but we can still see the fuel trim is at -30, so we know it's not pulling purge vapors. Let's just see if it responds to a vacuum leak. So I just created a vacuum leak, so the number of the short-term fuel trim there should start to climb, and it is. You can hear the engine starting to lope, so it is responsive. I gotta kill my knees. So I'll put that back on, so we know that's not our fuel trim isn't being, or our fuel source isn't because of incorrect purge. I tell you what, let's just for the heck of it, get that back out. Just because what's kind of concerning to me is I took this thing for a drive, and I did smash down on the throttle a couple times. So I don't believe I would have got the results with 22 pounds of fuel pressure if we have a failing pump. You know, perhaps, you know, if it can maintain that, but I did not have the scan tool with me though. Let me grab a fuel pressure gauge and let's see if our fuel rail pressure sensor is lying. The pump's commanded at 100%, and indeed, we're getting too much pressure to the engine even though the computer's not seeing it. We shut it up. Got my OSHA approved bucket. So here, little holler. Then I fall. Try not to laugh. Let me stick that somewhere where I'll lose it. I can take it now, Hannah. Whoa. Let's see if we can't get our adapter under here. Make sure you drain the fuel pressure, or just screw really quickly. That's what I do. There we go. We got it on there with minimum spillage. Let's see. This is my gauge. I'm gonna go hop back on the driver's side. Alright. Of course, we're at 0 PSI right now. Oh, you're on there? Yep. Turn the key on. Just bump the key. It might crank, but just bump it. Where's your problem, lady? Alright, shut it off, Hannah. Holy crap, this guy. So there's, it's holding at about 60 some pounds, 64 pounds. Start it up again. Yeah, I'd say our fuel pump's good. 80 PSI. That is a touch on what we call the excessive side. That's full. Must be what full duty cycle looks like. All right, let me grab the scan tool so we got a side-by-side comparison. But I think this one problem is going to be all of our codes. All right, so we can see real gauge. I hope you guys can see without a glare, but it's 80 psi. Scan data is 22. That is no go. I'm just kind of curious. Yes, we got some. Yeah, we got some pretty good flow. Not spitting or anything there. We do see a little drop. Go ahead and shut it off and then turn the key on, Hannah. All right, key's on. Okay, so we see we're at 65 psi on our gauge. Scan data is 16. Let's see if, just out of curiosity, if 0 is 0. Yeah, it is. I'll be darned. So that's, no pressure on the system, fully relieved. And does go to 0. Shut the key off. Okay, turn the key on. Fuel pump doesn't prime with the key's probably got to be off for a little longer period. Go ahead and start it back up. Alright, so 80 psi and it's 22, but 0 is 0. I think this is where our focus has to be. I'm kind of curious if I bleed the fuel pressure off from this at the same time we monitor fuel trim, if they'll start to make some correction. Just out of curiosity. Fuel trim data. This will probably be a pretty easy fix in the end. Let's look at our fuel trims. There we go. So our long term, where's our long term? Why is it only at -2? Oh no, it's not. I'm looking up here at -2. Okay, no, it's at -30. So let me I'm going to bleed off this fuel pressure into a bucket here. I want to see if we get any kind of fuel trim correction. It may not be enough pressure here to bleed off. I'm letting the fuel spray in there, but it may not be taking away enough volume of fuel to do any kind of fuel trim correction. Well, obviously it's not. You can only get so much through this little orifice here. So, and I don't have a way to measure pressure and volume at the same time, unfortunately. But that's pretty good volume. That thing just pumped out a little over a quart right there. All right, well, we'll leave it at that. Let's go after this fuel pressure sensor. So this fuel pump driver module can actually regulate the fuel pump in the correct manner, because right now it's got this thing running at 100% duty cycle. I shut it off, man. I believe that is our fuel pressure sensor that we're going to be after. So that is our stainless steel returnless system. This other line is for our evap, so by default that has to be our fuel line. And that's our fuel pressure sensor. I say before we get too far, because Keith would be mad at me if I did not tap on this thing first. Let's get a data pid pulled up here. Where the heck was it? Oh, wrong menu here. Oh, for the 4 o'clock. All right, yeah, just to tell him Josh is just pulling that truck out right now, and then he'll grab his. It'll be just like 95 minutes in. Okay, so here we go. Fuel. We'll do this. Every time I do a video, we get busy, or at least I notice it more. Oops. There we go. Let me grab a tapping device. Okay, I got a little hammer. Here we go. We're gonna tap it. All right, no change. Like I said, Keith would be mad. Come on, unplug it now. 0 volts. Beautiful. So what we'll do Should be a 5-volt sensor. Yep, let's plug back in. Let's do a quick bypass test on it. Make sure we've got everything we need. And we'll either be fixing a wire or calling a sensor. So we'll use our digital test light on this real quick to see if we have a 5-volt. Let me just get a ground here. Hopefully this transfer case has got a good ground. And then we're just going to front probe along here. See which one is our 5-volt. Probably one of the outer ones, I would assume. There we go. Whoa! I grabbed that skin. Try this again. There's this one here. So we can see, hopefully you guys can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says 4.8 volts. These test lights are kind of cheese dogs, so they're not 100% accurate. They're usually within, yeah, see right there, different ground, 4.8, 4.9, kind of varies. I don't put a whole lot of faith in them. So that is that. Let's see, our other outer one is more than likely our sensor ground. Hard to say. Let's let me get another jumper here. Let's just, for the heck of it, I'll go with the outer one here. Just got an old piece of rivet. I'll stick in the end of one of these. And our test light does not light up, so that is likely our signal return wire. Let's go to the middle one here. That's got to be our sensor ground. Either that or we got an open in the ground. That's the other variable. Get in there, little fella. Oh no, there we are. 4.9 volts. Of course, we've got the polarity reverse here. That's why it's green. So if we go like this, ground in the center. Yeah, so there we are. 4.8 volts. It was 5 as soon as I plugged it in. 5.1. Drops down to 4.8. These test lights are not high impedance, so they do draw a little bit of current. So it will take a 5-volt. Like if we check this with a meter, it's likely 5-volt. But if you use this, because they're not high impedance, you know, they're not as, they draw like, I can't remember what this one draws, 50 milliamps, 20 milliamps, something like that. So it will pull down a 5-volt reference. So now what we can do, because we know our power, we know our ground, we can take our power wire, we can take our 5-volt, or our signal return wire. We know we got 5 volts on it. We can hook these two together and we can watch our scan data. Let me just flick you guys around here. We'll watch our scan data now. If the wiring is good to the PCM, that should jump up to 5 volts and whatever maximum pressure is. So that lady must be our problem, because look, 1.29 volts. Oh, this is going to be fun. So we got 1.29 volts there. And then we come down here, and our actual reading is 4.8. So that's pretty cool, huh? It does not look like we have a bad sensor, and that's what, 25 PSI we were running somewhere around there. All right. Now we got issues. That's back open. So I think the next best step here is going to be to find out where this wire goes. Yeah, I don't know what to do, I don't care. So I'm going to find where this fuel tank pressure, oh yeah, excuse me, you're kidding me. Give me the scan tool there. I'm going to see if I can grab the VIN here, and I'll find out where this wire goes. Alright, we're dealing with a VIN M. Alright, we need to find the fuel. That's the fuel pump. I don't know if it goes to, you know, driver module and then fuel tank. That's fuel tank pressure sensor. We don't want that. Fuel line pressure sensor. Here we go. So that goes. Uh-oh. That goes to the FPCM under rear vehicle. Well, that's not good, lady. Because it goes from here and then it goes out on these two little wires. So it comes into the fuel pump driver. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. So that's our center wire. purple. No, it's not our center wire because that's not how it was. That's pin 1, so that's an outer wire and that's an outer wire. Yep, okay, so I like how they have it 312, kind of confuses you. So we know we've got our 5 volt, we know we've got our ground. The brown is our 5 volt reference, the gray is our low reference, that's our ground. We jumpered the 5 volt to the purple wire. That goes back to the FPCM, fuel system control module. From there, the data is interpreted. It makes, and then it sends its data out to on the CAN bus system. So that's that. It's really not much to test here. We're going to go back on pin 10. Of course, first visual inspection, this thing hangs underneath the vehicle. What 9-year-old car? This very well could be just corroded and rotted off, but we'll undo this connector. Actually, we won't undo the connector. We'll find the connector, see if we can find this purple wire, see if we're getting our 5 volt reference back there. If we are, then we can only assume that this module's bad. You get us a jump wire, Hannah. Just gonna take and front probe the 5 volt in this here, and we're just gonna take and stick. We'll just stick a jump wire across here, and then grab our scan tool. We're gonna make sure that we're displaying. I'll make sure too that we've got good connection. So we've got good connection with our jump wire. We're at the 4.9 or whatever. So we'll plug that in. Let's see, and then have this hop right here. Bring you guys along. We'll pop back out. I had to go in there and grab the VIN, so we're going to go back to the fuel pump, and then data, and we can see we're at 25 psi, 1.29 volts, and that we know is not true. Again, just a quick review. We have 5 volts back here at the sensor. So let's find this fuel pump driver module back here in the back of the vehicle, find our purple wire, verify that color is correct. Yeah, brown and purple, gray in the middle. So yep, that's right. Let's go find this little guy. And there she lives. Let's give this the old tap test. And we are at 1.29 volts. We just give it a quick wiggle, and we're staying steady, 1.28, 1.29 volts. I do see a purple wire right smack on top. Let me see, I gotta let this truck down a little bit. There we go, that's more my height. This freaking light so I can see. I don't know. Different style connectors we deal with. I don't really want to unplug it. Let me get my scan tool set up here, because as I move this, I want to see if anything changes. It doesn't. I just want to open it just far enough to do what we got to do. Because when you open this, it's going to want to cam this whole thing down. I can see the purple wire. I can see our bus wires. We got our big heavy amperage wires. Okay, the purple wires are on the outside. I'll see if I can back probe this here. Scan data stayed the same. We get us a back probe of some sort, Hannah. Well, wait a minute. No, I got my AS wave kit right here. Never mind. It's right in my cart. Let me I'll just grab a back probe out of here. There we go. I love these back probes. Okay. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, I can't tell. I think it's in. Never want to have to say that. Let's see. Let me grab a test light. Everything is solid rust. We need something shiny, Hannah. There is absolutely nothing shiny under this junker. Crap. There's nothing. All right, just when I cut the film, I gotta get a cookie wheel. We get us our cookie wheel. We got a shiny spot on the hitch now. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. There it is, folks. that is at the module. Hannah, go up there and make sure we're on the right wire. Go pull our, unhook one end of the alligator clips on that wire at the fuel pressure sensor. Okay, hook it back up. So we've got 5 volts at our module. That's not good. It means that it's not interpreting correctly here, as far as I know. Unless there's some kind of funk. What else could be going on here? Could it be because it has a code, it defaults to a fixed pressure? I don't know. I would still think it would read correct voltage. Let me see. Give me a mirror here, will you? I just want to look up around the side of this thing, see if there's any signs of swelling or pus. The green crusties. She doesn't look all puffy or anything. All right, there's that. Now I feel confident we can take it and unplug it. Maybe we got a pin fitment issue. There's some dirt or something. All right, well, the pins in there look good. Of course, you can't see. You can't see any of these little guys without pulling the little white plastic piece out of the center there. All right, let's just see for the heck of it. What a crappy spot for a module, GM. At least in our state it is. All right, let's take and plug this back in, see if anything changes. Okay, oops, module. We lost comm, imagine that. Let me retry. Collecting data, 1.29 volts, so nothing has changed. Well then. So I just double checked on the wiring diagram. All we've got left to do before we call the module is powers and grounds, and there's only 2 powers and grounds, a red with a white stripe and black. And I guess what we'll do, I guess we'll just unplug it. So yeah, it's our big honky tonks there. So red and white and black. We'll do a quick test light test across them. Then we probably ought to, key's still on, probably ought to make sure they carry current. So we'll probably get something a little bigger than our test light here. But let me, we'll just do that for right now. Make sure there's, something jumps right out to us. Yeah, we'll lightly front poke that very gingerly. Being careful not to spread the terminals. So we've got a pretty bright light there. Let me grab something that can carry some current so people don't squeal on this. I call this my variable resistor. So this is a headlight harness, oddly enough, out of one of these Chevy trucks. And I just save it because I've got a variable amount of loads I can add, anything from a 194 to a dual element to double whammy on the headlights. And so you just go back to the connector, I run a jumper in it, pick what I want. Right now I've got it hooked to, should be one of those headlights. We'll just lightly front probe here. This is probably gonna get hot. Holy crap, that's bright. So that's H11 headlight, and it gets these toasty. I'd say it's safe to say we've got good power, good ground. What do you guys think? That is current. That's a test light, baby. And that's it. That's it on this module. There's 1 power, 1 ground. Got some comm wires. I'm gonna call it. It needs a new fuel pump driver module. Now these modules need to be programmed when they're put in. So we've got the ability to do that right here. We'll use our Bosch, our BCI module, our interface device. Assuming we get the job, if we get the job. I assume this guy wants his truck fixed. We've got to fix that before we can diagnose anything else. And like I said, that's likely going to repair all the problems. Just called the dealer, 167 beans that little fella cost, and he said he had a whole bunch of them in stock, so that always makes you feel better. I like my little, we've never whipped this out in a video, but check that out. So I put a headlight in one of these that was smashed, well, just like this one is. Headlight's all broke on that one. And I just saved the harness, because like I say, that's good to have for, variable loads. Just pick your poison. And I just kind of keep that around for situations like this when we just want to know. I ordered it, I haven't even called the customer yet. I'm sure they're not going to scrap this truck for a, diagnostic time and, price of the module. We'll get that, we'll put that in, assuming he says to go for it. We're still going to call him, but it's just about 5 o'clock, so I didn't want to miss the delivery for tomorrow. So that'll be here. And if we get it, we get the job, we'll grab our Bosch unit, we'll get that flash programmed, and make sure that we fix this thing correctly and made the right call. So stay tuned. All right, settle down. Somebody's already at home freaking out. I did forget a wire. God damn, I was washing my hands. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. It should be an ignition source. And there it is. It's this pink wire. There we are. All right, we're glowing bright. Let me turn that off so we can see. So there we are. That's our ignition feedback here. Nice and bright. No worries, folks. Wow, almost made a mistake. You guys would have hammered me on that one.